this is the practice final exam. There's quite a few problems on it, so I'll probably do this voiceover in multiple parts, maybe 3 or 4, depending. We'll see how it goes. And there's going to be some problems, obviously, that we haven't talked about, but as I go through this, I'll tell you which ones you won't be held responsible for. Number 1, distance formula gives you the points p sub 1, p sub 2. We have the distance formula right here. Now, of course, an alternative to doing this is obviously if you've programmed your calculator to find the distance between 2 points. It makes life real easy, but in either case. So my distance is equal to, I want to call this my x sub 1 and my y1, and I'll refer to this as my x2 and y2. So x sub 2, which is a -5, minus x sub 1, which is already negative. A minus will make this a plus. I want to square that sum, plus y sub 2, which is -3, minus y sub 1, which is +1, and I'm going to square that. So I'm given, let's see, -5 and a +2 is a -3, and -3 squared is 9, plus a -3 combined with a -1 is a -4, -4 squared is 16, 9 and 16 is 25, and the square root of 25 is 5, and therefore you see it's letter A. Alright, number 2. We're asked to find the midpoint. He gives us 2 points. Midpoint is the halfway point. P sub 1 is located at 7, 1. P sub 2 located at -16, -16. So to find the midpoint, it's the average of the 2 x values, and the average of the 2 y values. So here I've got, let's see, 7 plus a -16 divided by 2. Let's see, that would be -9 divided by 2. I'm not going to do anything with that. And yeah, and right now, I could actually stop right here because I look at letter B. Letter B is the only one that has a midpoint, an x value of -9/2. You know, so if I've done this one correctly, why am I even going any further? But we'll do it out. The average of the y values, the midpoint. Alright, so that's 1 plus here again a -16 divided by 2. Let's see, 1 plus -16 is -15. -15 cut in half is -15 cut in half. Alright, but I knew this was letter B. What you're trying to do, you're not trying to go crazy fast, but you can save yourself a minute here and a minute there. I mean, it's good. It gives you more time to do the ones that you have issues with. Alright, circle formula. We've seen this over and over and over. Here's the standard formula of circle. X minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared. We call it, the equation of a circle is based upon the distance formula. The distance formula tells you to subtract. Alright, and this is equal to r squared. Alright, so he tells you that the center is located at -1, 3. This is your h, that's your k, and he tells me my radius is equal to 3. So already, as I look at the answers, I know I'm going to take 3 and square it. 3 squared is 9. Well, letters C and D are the only ones that have 9 for a radius squared, so it can't be A and it can't be B. Even if I was guessing, I'd have a 1 and 2 short of getting this. I know it's going to be C or D. 3 squared is 9. So x minus, well, x minus a -1 is x plus 1 quantity squared, plus y minus your k value, y minus a +3, y minus 3 quantity squared. Now you got to make sure that you look at these properly because he's going to try to okey doke you. And we can see here that the correct answer is letter D. Alright, number 4. Completing the square. He wants us to find the radius and the center of a circle. But the equation here, he he gives us is not in that format where I can just look at it and determine the the h and the k value. So if I write this out properly, plus 12y plus 21 equal to 0. All right. My first step is to put all my x terms side by side. And then I'll obviously put my y terms side by side. I'm going to leave a space here because I'm going to add something here to complete the square. So putting my y terms close to one another, I'm going to take this positive 21, that constant. I'm going to leave a space here. I'm going to take that constant and move it to the other side. I'm going to subtract 21 on both sides. All right. The process is take half of the middle term, half of 17. So half of 14 is 7. Take the 7 and square it. That's 49. I'm going to add 49 to the left, and I'll do the same thing to the right. Once again, locate the middle term here. The middle term, the coefficient of the middle term is 12. Take half of that, and that gives me 6. I'm going to take 6 and square it, and I'm going to get 36. So I want to add 36 here, and I want to add 36 there. I now have what's called a perfect square trinomial. This is x plus 7 quantity squared. Half of that middle term shows right up again. Y squared plus 12y plus 36 is now a perfect square trinomial. Y plus 6 quantity squared. Remember, taking half of 12 gave us 6. That 6 pops right back up. And what have I got here? 49 and 36 is 85. Subtract 21. Oh, isn't that nice? 64, perfect square. Now, what's the center? If you have a plus, you've got to change the sign, because the circle formula calls it my h to follow a minus sign. I've got a plus here. I'm going to change that to a negative, and the square root of 64. My radius is 8. So negative 7, negative 6, positive 8. It sure looks like letter B to me. All right, number 5. He's asking us which one is not a function. All right, if you have an equation and it doesn't, once you graph it, it doesn't pass the vertical line test, you know you haven't got a function. Scanning this, you shouldn't realize that letter C is a circle whose center is at 0, 0, and whose radius is 2. The reason I know it's a circle is x squared plus y squared equal to 4. I can write this as x minus 0 quantity squared plus y minus 0 quantity squared equal to 2 squared. So there's my center, 0, 0, and there's my radius 2. Circles aren't functions because they fail the vertical line test. Now you could graph each one of these. I mean, letter A, you know what it looks like, the square root function. All right, in fact, that's the basic square root function. All right, now yours is, I know it's going to be either A front, I should have said this, please order function. All right, now yours is x minus 3, all right, in most cases. All right, so which one isn't a function? It's letter C. Number 6. You know, what do we got here? Got all these ordered pairs. Negative 1, comma 8. You've got 2, comma 4. You've got 4, comma negative 5. And then 8, comma negative 2. Notice I didn't repeat my x value at all. So if I didn't repeat it, I can't have a same x going to a different value because I've never repeated the x. So yeah, I've got a function, and the domain would be the set of all first values, negative 1, 2, 4, and 8, and my range is 8, 4, negative 5, and negative 2. Negative 1, 2, 4, and 8. And he did us a favor. He actually put these in the correct order. So it looks like it's a letter A. Letter A. The difference is, you know, how he plays around with you. But I knew it was a function because I didn't repeat any x value. So if I didn't repeat it, I couldn't have more than one x going to a different y value. All right, number 7, pretty straightforward inequality. 10 is less than or equal to 2x plus 2. If I didn't mention it, I should have right up front, I should have said this instead of waiting until I get to number 7. You should have your practice, a copy of it right in front of you as you're looking at this. All right, because there'll be some examples where they're graphs, and I'm not going to be able to duplicate them here. So have have your paper in front of you as I'm going through this. What I see here is that less than or equal to and less than or equal to here, if I copy this right. Alright, so that's going to tell me that I'm going to end up with a bracket and a bracket. As I'm looking at these answers, I look at letter B. B has open parenthesis, and D has got open parenthesis. So I pretty much know the answer is going to be bracket, bracket because of the less than or equal to, which translates to brackets, not parenthesis. So I'm looking for an answer that has both of those, and from my observations, I know it's going to be either A or C. So solving this, I need to get, before I can get x by itself, I need to get 2x by itself. So I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides here, all sides. 10 subtract 2 is 8, less than or equal to 2x, which in turn is less than or equal to 10. Then dividing everything through by 2, I get 4 less than or equal to x, which in turn is less than or equal to 5. Alright, so if I look at this, I'm looking at, letter C. Alright, and in interval notation, I got 4, 5 with brackets. With brackets. Alright, number 8. Here again, looking at this, using some smarts here. I see that this is less than or equal to, this is a strict inequality, less than. That's going to be a bracket, and this is going to be a parenthesis. As I look at the answers, I only see one that has a bracket and a parenthesis, and that's letter A. I take that, no. I take that back. Letter D has one, but it's on the right side. Alright, so I'm looking at letter A. I know it's not B, because B has parenthesis, parenthesis, and C has parenthesis, parenthesis. That's going to be a bracket, that's going to be a parenthesis. So I'm leaning on A, but it could be conceivably D. It's definitely not B or C. Alright, so in interval notation, it doesn't get much simpler than that. That's a negative 2, and that's 9. Alright, so there it is. It's letter A. So that's not a big issue. Let me turn the paper and see if I can do... Well, let me finish it off here while I'm at it. At least get through number 10. Maybe I'll do them in multiples of 10. Number 9 is a strict inequality. Where you got it, x is less than negative 6. So obviously, now you're looking at B and D. B and D both have the same thing for interval notation. They've got the graph is the same when we say it that way. The graph is identical in each of these. This is going to negative infinity. Here you are at negative 6. And they both have a parenthesis and the values to the left. Now, what distinguishes one from the other? The difference being is that in letter D, the wrong answer, you've got a bracket next to the negative infinity. And that's never right, because infinity or positive infinity is always in a parenthesis. Reason being, there is no number that's equal to negative infinity, so it's always a parenthesis. Alright, that's the distinction between B and D. You're really delving deep in this bag or being slimy to try to get you to do the wrong answer here. The graphs were the same. It's just that the interval notation was incorrect for letter D. This is why B is the correct answer. And number 10, here again, which is a graph, which is not a graph of a function. Well, if you look at letter C, it's the circle. It fails the vertical line test. Alright, the circle fails miserably the vertical line test. For every x, there's multiple y. So, alright, hope this helps. I should have mentioned earlier that have your paper out in front of you. I'll see how this goes. I may do this maybe in groups of 10 or 15, depending on the difficulty of the problem. But you'll have them. I'll be able to do all 54. Like I said, there'll be some where I'll maybe do them, but I'll say, oh, by the way, I didn't talk about this. I didn't cover this because of, what we've been experiencing with being, online versus face-to-face. So, all right, I'll pick you up. We'll catch up on the next one.